So we continuing from where we left off with chapter 4 of the mysteries of the Silent Brotherhood of the East. Yahshua talks with the rabbi of the Ten Commandments. Now, Rabbi Barachia of Nazareth and Yahshua, the son of Joseph, and Mary met. The rabbi was aid in teaching the son. One morning after the service in the temple, Yahshua, as he sat in silence, thought the rabbi said to Yahshua, "Which is the greatest of the Ten Commandments?" And Yahshua said, "I do not see the greatest of the Ten Commandments. I see a gold cord that runs through all of the Ten Commandments, that binds them fast and make them one. This cord is love. And it belongs to every word of all the Ten Commandments. If one is filled of love, he does not need commandments of any kind." And Rabbi Barchia said, "Your words are seasoned with the salt of wisdom that is from above. Who is the teacher who has opened up this truth to you?" And Yahshua said, "I do not know any teacher opened up this truth for me. It seems to me that truth was never shut, that it was always opened up, for truth is one and it is everywhere. If we opened up the windows of our minds, the truth will enter in and make herself at home. For truth can find her way through any crevice, any window, any open door." The rabbi said, "What hand is strong enough to open up the window and the doors of our minds so truth can enter in?" And Yahshua said, "It seems to me that love, the golden cord that binds the Ten Commandments in one, is strong enough to open any human door so that truth can enter in. And cause the heart and cause the heart to understand." Number 9, crucial. That's heavy right there. Now in the evening, Yahshua and his mother sat alone, and Yahshua said, "The rabbi seems to think that Allah is partial in his treatments of the Son of Men, that Jews are favored and blessed above all other men. I do not see how Allah can find favorites and be just. Are not the Sarmatans and the Greeks and Romans just as much the children of the Holy One as are the Jews? I think the Jews have built a wall about themselves, and they see nothing on the other side of it. They do not know that flowers are blooming over there, that sowing time belongs to anyone but the Jews. It surely would be well if we could break these barriers down so that the Jews might see that Allah has other children that are just as greatly blessed. I want to go from jewelry land and meet my kin in other countries of my father's land." So I'm going to open the floor, have a conversation about the Ten Commandments, Yahshua's thoughts on the Ten Commandments, any principles that stood out.
Islam.
Islam.
I wanted to comment and say I like the part where Yahshua was going in, excuse me, and saying that he didn't have a teacher and he didn't need the commandments because really the commandments are not like an issue from man because man can't control man. they're just like suggestions, you know what I mean? But he had all the suggested morals and character coming from birth, from Mary, you know? And it's just interesting how we have everything from birth and we kind of get faded out in alternate reality, you know what I mean? And we kind of lose ourselves, you know what I'm saying? Because we really Yahshua, all of us are Yahshua. We live in a story, you know. So I just thought that stood out real, you know, real bold to me, Islam.
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 Yeah, bro. That's why I say all the time that love is my teacher. You know, because with love, you can tap into the truth. Love is the best teacher. With love, that's where you get all the information from, because love created everything. So when you tap into love, you can tap into anything. So that's why I always focus on love, because me being in this movement for so long, everything I've done in this movement to, you know, please myself or to gain the truth or to find myself, it all happened. But when I tapped into love, now I'm into a place where I can, you know, it's only my experience with it. You see what I'm saying? So that's what it means by studying yourself, the love part. Because your love for yourself and my love for myself and experiences that we all have with love is different. But that's the love, that's what we're supposed to share with each other, the information, you know? So that's why I always say supreme love.
Islam.
Islam. Islam.
Yeah, I like to say something too. I mean, it's crazy how we're on the subject of the Ten Commandments. I just got a book in today. It's called, here, I'll show you. How you turn them?
Was that the case laws?
Yeah. How to free yourself from legal tyranny.
Mm-hmm.
And in the back of it, I was just going through it because I just got it. But in the back of it says, under the laws of commerce, truth is sovereign. The foundation of the uniform of the Commercial Code UCC is commercial law. The foundation of commercial law is based upon certain universal, eternal, and just valid moral precepts and truths. The basis of commercial law is the law of Exodus of the Old Testament, i.e. the Ten Commandments, and the Judaic Orthodox Hebrew commercial laws of Moses.
Wow, Islam.
That's
I
interesting.
mean, I was just going through it. This here in the back, page 64. But yeah, basically it's saying that that's really what law is. Like it literally says it, you know? That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's all connected. Everything has an origin.
This one a little bit harsh, so that's why it happened.
Anything stand out to anybody else? Ali Khan, Islam.
Islam Ali. Happy
Islam,
Holy Day.
Islam, Moors, Islam, happy holy day.
Ali Khan was popping.
Happy
Islam,
holiday.
Islam out there.
But yeah, man.
Islam, I got a couple thoughts about it.
I'm gonna turn something down.
Something going on with the laptop.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think you just had some feedback, Razzle Young, but yeah, number nine stood out for me. It seems to me that love, the golden cord that binds the 10 commandments in one, is strong enough to open any human door so that truth can enter in and cause the heart to understand. You know, it's only, that's a slim door. Only, you know, love can cause the heart to be at a place to want to receive. Because outside of that, the heart's gonna be, you know, people are naturally gonna be guarded until it is displayed that they don't need to be guarded anymore.
That's true, man. Because love is like, even if you see, you know, you trying to correct your children or your child from doing something that they might hurt themselves. And you tell them out of love, you like, yo, don't do this, because this is gonna happen to you. And then they continue to do it. You get louder, and then pretty soon you whooping them. Now, the love just brought pain to them, and the person that just received the pain don't know it's love, but it is. So people base their emotions on what love is and their thoughts on what love is, but love is only right. Love is making the right decision only. Love is making the best decision. You see what I'm saying? So the feelings don't matter, even though the feelings do cause you get results from the feelings though. So some people need pain and some people, you know, do not, you know, that. So that's why love is so confusing to some people.
Right. Yeah. That balance.
Another thing you could do if you wanted to really dive in deep on the 10 Commandments, just look up the metaphysical dictionary, you know what I'm saying, on that. And it has a lot on it that, you know what I'm saying, to open a lot of people up on the do's and don'ts. So if you just put that in your Google search bar, you know what I'm saying, the 10 Commandments metaphysical Bible interpretations, and yeah, you'll get some heat.
Now you see why I say common sense is a God sense, because if we have to get to the point where we writing down things to illustrate the people, to show them and say, yo, you shouldn't kill nobody. You shouldn't commit adultery. Why are you saying that? Because it's a violation of common sense, your God sense. So that's violating God. I'm using the word God, but we know Allah. So you shouldn't have to write shit down. Why? Because think about it with yourself. Do you want somebody to take your wife? Do you want somebody to kill you? Do you want somebody to, that's why it's all about self. What you want for yourself and how you want it to be treated is very simple. It sounds simple, but I don't see people on it. So that's what makes me second guess people intelligence, because if you treat someone the way you do not want to be treated, then it's shame on you, and you will suffer for that. And that's where we got to break everything back down to the simplicity of shit. It's back to, how do you want to be treated? You know, and it's simple.
Yeah.
Islam.
Islam.
Yeah, that's what the brother said. We basically live in a mirror dimension. That's why it says, you know, you get what you put in, you get out, or, you know, those type of slogans, because it's just trying to give you the reality that you want. And part of that is in your action. So what you put out, you're going to get back and multiply it usually. So, yeah, 3, 6, and 9 seem to have a theme together. Those are the three that stuck out to me the most. One that, once again, like, you know, you guys have been talking about them as well, but the love being the key factor that binds everything in all reality, as the brother said. So accessing that, yeah, we wouldn't even need the rules, because we be loving ourselves to the point that it will be overflowing to everybody without a thought. So, and then the truth can never be shut. Basically, you don't have to open it. It's always there. It doesn't need to be validated or anything. You know, it's always going to stand stand its ground. So just living your truth, you know.
Hey, I was thinking that in my head, when you said 3, 6, and 9, because you said it has something in common. And I was
Mhm.
just the mere fact that you said 3, 6, and 9. Just the numbers have something in common, and then Humble Bay put it in the chat. Like,
Oh, okay.
yeah, man, that's fire. And the pyramid too, you know,
Yep,
pyramid,
yep.
you know, that's fire, man.
I yield.
So, anybody had anything else for a transition to astral diagnosis? Okay. So this is astral diagnosis by Max Wendell. We're still in the kidneys, but I would like someone to look up mastoiditis, mastoiditis. Because I'm just curious what somebody else would get. Because I'm getting ear infection. Mastoiditis, an infection that affects the mastoid bone located behind the ear. Mastoiditis is usually caused by a middle ear infection. This infection can be caused or can be a result in damage to the mastoid bone and the formation of pus-filled cysts. So like I said, it's looking like an ear infection. But like I said, I'm curious if anybody else will find anything else outside of that definition for that. Bacterial infection that infects the bone behind the ear.
Islam. The etymology app says that at least mastoid in itself has to do with mammary glands, but it's more like a breast-shaped, teeth-like resemblance of a breast or a nipple. So it must be some kind of like a keloid or protrusion out of the ear
Okay.
that's full of pus and infection.
Yeah, children normally get it, babies, if you feed them and you feed them laying down. You feed them laying down, then because their eustachian tube is I don't know the details, but it's shaped differently. So when they drink laying down, it goes into that part of the ear,
Mhm.
and then they end up having they gather a bacteria infection from it.
This is a process of the temporal bone behind the ear of the base of the skull. So it's right, I guess, where the ear touches the skull too.
Yeah.
Dang, okay. So we're dealing with the kidneys and that ear irregularity, which is interesting, huh? Seem like two. Well, I guess that's the opposites, huh? Maybe it's gonna show like once again, if something's wrong in the opposite side, that's how you cure it with you cure something the opposite. So maybe that's the connection. That's what it was looking like.
Islam, one extra thing. There's a map to your whole body on your ears, your feet, your hands, and your face. So it's probably linked because of that too.
Right. Wow. So we have a male born May 8th, 1865 at 1:45 a.m.
Taurus.
This horoscope has the fixed sign of Aquarius on the ascendant, with the sun in the fixed sign of Taurus and in conjunction with Venus and Mercury. The sun is also sextile to Mars. Jupiter, the planet of opulence and benevolence, is in the 10th house in its own sign of Sagittarius. These positions and aspects of the sun and Jupiter indicate one who is a great lover of humanity, a man who is very generous financially and very ready to go out of his way for others, even sacrificing his own comfort if he finds anyone whom he can relieve a suffering or shield from harm. But we find Jupiter, Mercury, Venus, and Saturn all in retrograde. This indicates that the man will find difficulty in realizing his ideals, and in doing so, and in doing as much good as his heart dictates for retrograde planets, indicate latent talents, possibilities, and opportunities. Ability for earning money is very marked. This man is also a liberal spender, having Venus in his own sign and house, Taurus, and the second house in conjunction with the sun and sextile to Mars. Whatever he does must be done on a large and generous scale. He is a very good entertainer also, and a good liver, for the sun, Venus, and Mercury in Taurus sextile to Mars and Cancer, and Taurus ruling the palate, give a desire for good things to eat, and plenty of them. Likewise, Mars and Cancer sextile to Venus and the sun desire rich, highly seasoned foods, and in large quantities. With Mars in the 5th house, this man loves to share with his friends. But while this generosity may have been good for others and he has made people happy by tickling their palates, the result has been disastrous to himself. His health could not withstand the onslaughts made upon the body by high living. To find in what part of the body the damage done by excess of food will show, we look for the strongest afflictions. We find Mars in Cancer, ruling the stomach, square to the moon in Saturn, which are the sign of Libra, Libra having rule over the kidneys. We also find Saturn in conjunction with and parallel to the moon. The moon rules the white fluids of the body and the lymph. Saturn, being the afflictor, would as a result resist the free flow of these fluids. Because remember, the theme is Saturn, wherever the fluid is at, it's going to shrink it up, or it's not as much fluid. If y'all been following in the last couple chapters. And also the white fluid in the moon. That was talked about in some other book we read earlier in the game. And then the sun, that gold sappy substance. So Saturn, being the afflictor, would be a result, resist the free flow of these, in this case, white sappy fluids. As Jupiter, the planet ruling the arterial blood, or the blood in the arteries, is in its own sign of Sagittarius, near the midheaven, in opposition to the nervous, excitable, and spasmodic Uranus, in the Mercury sign of Gemini. And as Mars is parallel to both Jupiter and Uranus, we find an obstructed arterial circulation, or obstructed circulation in the artery area, with lymphatic circulation also impaired. When the man is continually breaking the laws of health by excessive eating, we may expect that the break must come sometime. We must expect that the break must come sometime of not eating, right? In 1906, while the progress sun was in conjunction with the radical Uranus and Gemini, and the progress moon was making a square to Mars and an opposition in both the moon and Saturn, this man was taken down with a severe attack of pneumonia. I feel like I'm not saying that right. Damn. Okay. But y'all see it on the screen. No, it's like pneumonia, like it's a condition.
Pneumonia.
Pneumonia. Yeah, I cannot get it for the life of me. Pneumonia. But it's spelled PN though. So in 1907, the progress sun reached the opposition to the radical Jupiter. This was followed in 1912 by the progress moon in conjunction with the radical Mars in Cancer. During that same year, the progress moon afflicted by square its own place at birth at the radical Saturn, both in Libra. This brought on a severe attack of kidney trouble and constriction in the uterus, which interfered with the waste water passing from the kidneys to the bladder. At the age of 13, when the progress moon had reached the sign of Aries, and during its transit through this sign, it came to a conjunction with the radical Neptune, in opposition to the radical moon and Saturn, a square to Mars, and a conjunction with the dragon's tail. This brought on trouble with the ears and continual headaches and earaches. When the moon reached the conjunction with the radical Mercury and the retrograde pass or progress Venus in Taurus, inflammation of the mastoid cells developed. So that's behind the ear. Cells behind the ear developed. The doctor operated on the mastoid bone, right, which we read earlier was behind the ear. So the doctor operated on this bone twice, draining the pus, right? Remember, that's what we read, right? There's pus that gets generated. So draining the pus, which have formed in the mastoid cavity. These operations left the patient with a chronic headache and impaired nerves. If this man had been taught that he should eat to live instead of living to eat, he might have saved much suffering. That was very interesting. Interesting segment. So as we can see, the kidneys is a direct correlation to the ear, for one. And now we're seeing, once again, how diet can cure everything. You know what I'm saying? But we also see how diet can just have everything collapse because your astrological makeup already puts you in a position where it's like you could fall victim and collapse, or you can rise above, you know. But yeah, let's open the floor. What's everybody's thoughts on this, man?
So them bony air cells, that's what they really call the mastoid. And the reason why I know that because I dealt with vertical for almost 2 years at one point. And I pretty much had to learn how to balance. I had to learn how to live with it. And then it just went away once I relearned. But it's like they call them bony air cells because the bones move with air. It's like when you swallow, the eustachian tube open, and so much pressure is released through these bones, and it's like regulating the pressure between your head, your mouth, your ears, and all that. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's kind of funny that it said Venus, Taurus in Venus, or Venus in Taurus. What they say, Taurus in Venus? Let me see. Oh yeah, Taurus and Venus, because I know Venus is rule over Taurus. It caused inflammation. That's because I'm trying to figure. I'm just going back to what I was dealing with at that time. So I'm trying to see like, like, of course it was my diet. You know what I mean? But it was just strange hearing it in this form though. So I had to screenshot this page and go over that one.
Yeah, man. And that Saturn, man, that Saturn thing never fails with me. Like how it's just sucking up all the fluids. That's what it seeks to do. Um, and it's all about the diet. Every chapter, I think, for the most part, since we popped this book off, it talks about how all the patient has to do is just change their diet. And they could have, put it in reverse or something like that, So, remember this book, Max Wendell's a Rosicrucian guy. So, they got high science. And it's back to diet. It's not even Dr. Sebi, it's somebody else outside of Dr. Sebi. Modern European Albion. So, they didn't expect at this time when this book was written that we'd be going over a couple months this book and dissecting it and getting a sense of what's in it. They didn't expect our people to get hold of this book. You know what I mean? But if I'm not mistaken, this book came out like 19 something, 40 or something, maybe 1915 or something like that. But it was a long time ago. And that shows you what type of info's out there. I'm thinking about Noble Joe Ali too. I was mind blown about some of the things like the herbs, and there was other aspects to what he was doing, man. Like I didn't realize how holistic he was, Noble Joe Ali was like Dr. Sebi back then.
Exactly. And he said something, that's what made me not stick to Dr. Sebi, but that's what made me I start studying Dr. Sebi like real tough. Is studying the prophet, he was just like, I could heal you from anything you wasn't born with. You feel me? So when I heard that, I was just like, like, hold on. I was feeling some type of way because, I was born with my shit. So I'm just like, yo, what to do now? You know what I mean? So I started, I still tried and I did benefit off of, the remedies. I had a couple of friends that actually had the oils and the stuff that Noble Jew Ali was getting off, So I felt great, you know what I mean? But I kept going to the doctor and then I was still the same, but I couldn't believe I still had it because I was feeling so good, But when I found Dr. Sebi, I utilized both of them to get to where I needed to be,
Right.
So I feel like he's the front runner, Dr. Sebi is the front runner, even though it's two different time periods, you feel me? But even Dr. Sebi even said he met Noble Jew Ali. It's a video out there, him talking about Noble Jew Ali, So that was a very interesting video. It's hard to find though.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's remarkable to me, man. Bossy Quattrocolo got the flag up, man. I see you, man. We got the Imperial joint up there, man.
I've been had it. I had to rearrange everything.
Okay. Yeah, man. That's what's up, man. Right. Anybody got anything? Any thoughts? Matter of fact, let me turn this recording off.